Hey, this is Professor Homa. I'm just going to review a little intro to PowerPoint using our PPO1 movies exercise that we're going to be working on. I gave you a sample to download. It's just part of it. Here's an example in PowerPoint. The version I gave you is actually just the slideshow, not the actual PowerPoint. But if I take a look at this one, I'm going to go in the slideshow right now of this movie, and I'm just going to preview this if it gets started here. And I'm just going to take a look at the PowerPoint. And you can see that it has what's called a transition that slides up. And there's my title slide. It's called My Favorite Movies. This would be my name here, or your name. And I'll just hit my space bar. It slides up again. And here's a description of the movie, of my first movie. And I'm going to hit the space bar again. And here are the actors. You don't see any, but once you hit one of the keys, it'll say John Wayne, Maureen O'Hara, Barry Fitzgerald, and Victor McLaglen. And then I'm going to go to the next slide, which is basically a picture of one of my favorite scenes from the movie. I can't see anything yet until I hit my space bar. And there it is. It says my favorite scene from The Quiet Man. So that would be the first of my favorite movies. For right now, I don't have any others. So I just wanted to give you just a sample with the first movie. And you're basically going to repeat that for the next two movies. So you're going to have a title slide and 3 descriptive slides about each movie. And you're basically going to use animations and transitions between those slides. And I'm actually going to make a new movie right now. I'll do it from scratch. And I'll go File New, and I'll make a new presentation from PowerPoint. So I'm not using That Quiet Man, and then maybe I'll use a different movie than The Quiet Man. But this is kind of the generic slide that comes up. There's a generic title slide that comes up first. And we're not going to use that. You might want to use a theme. To use a theme, you could go over here up top and go to Design. And you have all these cool themes. If you don't see a whole lot of them, if you need more, if you go on this little area here, there's a little drop down on the scroll bar, and you could scroll and see more themes. And you could always get more from other places, but this is pretty good for. And you could customize all these, and you could put your mouse over them and see what they look like and all that. But for now, I guess I'll use a different one than I was using. I'll use one in the middle here, and this is called Grid. It's just a kind of horizontal, vertical kind of one, very straight. The one I was using has kind of angles to it. But I'm going to start off with Grid for now, and we'll talk more about, changing these and customizing these later. But for now, we'll just start this off, and I'm going to put I'll put a title here, and just click where it says to start, and I'm just going to put My Favorite Movies. And notice right now it's doing it in all caps. There's My Favorite Movies. You don't have to list them there, although you can put your favorite movies. Now for the next slide, I'm going to list my first movie. Now to insert a slide, you could go to your Home tab, and you could go to this area over here where it says New Slide. Now if I click on this little arrow below, you could see the types of slides. There's a title slide, title and content, section header, all different kinds to use depending what kind of presentation you're using. But for now, for my next slide, I'll just use title and content. And up here, I'll just put my first movie, and I'll put a number 1 and put North by Northwest. That's a movie with Cary Grant, more of a classic movie. And what I'm going to put in here is just a description. Okay. Now, for the description of the movie, it's starting off. If you notice, it's starting off in bulleted text. I could turn that off, and I'm just going to put a description here. Now, you can describe it yourself, or you could go in and go on the internet, which I'm going to do. And I'm just going to use this little area on Google and just copy this little description here. And I'll just copy it and paste it back into PowerPoint. And I'll go here and I'll just paste it. Okay, and there's my description. I can make that a little bigger if I want. I could change the font, anything I want to do. I'll put it in 24 point right now. If you want, you could even write the word description, and I'll hit a return. And then if you'd want to change this and put it in a different color, that's fine too. And that will be I'll make it like 36 points. So, oh, there's a spelling error in here. That's coming right off the site. So that's my description right here, North by Northwest. Okay, and I'm done with that slide. Then I'm going to do another slide. Now I could duplicate this slide. I could right-click here and duplicate the slide, or I can just insert another blank slide. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this because I already have the title there. And here's my next slide, and make sure you click on it. These are slides over here. These are little thumbnails, they're also called. And on this one, I'm just going to put actors. And when I highlight this, I'm going to put this back into a bullets again, and I'm going to put Cary Grant. And there's another bullet that's coming down here, and I'll check all the people. I think there's Eve Marie Saint. I'll go back to my actors here, and I'll put James Mason. And if you have a lot of actors, you can list them. If not, I'm just going to highlight here and do a copy. And I'll just put director. And I'll put Alfred Hitchcock. Okay, so that's all I need for this. Now for my third, now this would be a nice place for a picture over here, but for now I'll just leave it like this. That's why that other movie probably, that other theme probably worked out better. This would be nice if it had a picture of somebody over here, and I could always do that. And for my third slide, and I'll just duplicate this again. And here's my third slide, and it's the same thing. So I'm going to put favorite scene. And I'm just going to highlight this, and I'll put my favorite scene in the movie. The plane scene. And I'll just copy and paste that in, a picture of it. I don't need this in bullet, so I'll just take that out. It'll just be a sentence. And what I'll do is I'll put a picture here, which I'll just copy and paste. So I'll go back to Firefox, and I'll go here. There's actually a picture of the plane scene. And this is actually the scene I like. So I'm actually going to copy this thing, and I'll just say copy image. And I'm going to go back to PowerPoint, and I'll click off of that, and I'll just paste it. I'll just right click and do paste, and you have different paste options down here. It's saying keep source formatting, picture. I'll just do picture, and that just pastes the picture in here. And you can scale it by grabbing a corner and scaling it down a little. If you go in a 45-degree angle, it should keep it in proportion. You don't want to stretch it out. I'll put this picture down here. I'll make it a little smaller. Okay, if I did want to crop this at all, there's a little bit of extra sky up here. I can double click on it, and it brings up picture tools. You see picture tools up here, and you can do some cropping. If you use the crop tool over here, I can crop down and just take a little off that, and maybe take a little off over here, and that's it. And then also what I could do with this, if I wanted to put a little frame or border on, I could do that over here. There's a little frame that looks nice. One of these. Maybe I'll just use that one. Okay, when you click off, the picture tools will go away, and that's pretty much it right now. Now, I would repeat this for my next two movies. This is my first movie. My next frame would be, I would duplicate this frame. Now, just so you know, if I was doing another movie, let's say I was going to do The Quiet Man again, I could right-click and duplicate this, okay, and then I can move this, move this down here. I can move this extra description down here to the bottom. You could just drag these around, and then I could go on this one, and I could change this to be this could be The Quiet Man. Quiet Man. The Quiet Man, and I can put my description here. You know, so on. So this would be my next one now. And then I repeat this, and like I said in the description, you can put or the instructions, you could put a closing frame at the end just to say it's the end or whatever. But that's all you really have to do.